extra excited to see you all this morning. As you heard me in your introduction, this is my very favorite part, but I have to start off by letting folks know just a little bit more about who you all are, because your backgrounds are absolutely amazing. So would you mind just taking a few minutes and each of you just share with everybody a little bit. Dr. Seidman, I'm actually going to have you go first, and I have to brag just because I'm constantly, people ask me all the time, what do I understand about the products and what do I know about the products? And I say, you know what, the good thing is all I have to know is that they work. I've lost 26 pounds. I don't know how. I don't know why, but they work. And if you'll look at this man and look at his credentials, and there's multiple videos of him explaining and being voted in the top 1% of surgeons, doctors, by his peers, top 1%, right? He's absolutely amazing. He's incredibly humble, but I have begged you today just to brag a little bit about yourself. So, and if you want me to start, I'll start. I am a high school graduate. Dr. Seidman, over to you.
I think, is this
you're all
working?
mic'd up. Okay, great.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you for being here. So I'm Michael Seidman, and nice to meet you. My undergraduate degree, I always joke, I say, hi, my name is Michael, and I'm a junk food junkie. It's like the AA meetings. And I have a sweet tooth, probably like a lot of people here in the audience. And I played semi-professional racquetball in high school and college and traveled the country. And my diet was nacho cheese, Doritos, Coca-Cola, and pizza. Right, not very good. And it was about that time I started making supplements in my dorm room. So, in my dorm room at University of Michigan, I was putting together the products, many of the products that you now take. So I had vats of ginkgo biloba and vitamin E, natural forms of vitamin E and vitamin C, and different types of berries and things that were good for your health. But my undergraduate degree was from the School of Public Health at the University of Michigan in Human Nutrition, and I did that because I was pretty sure I either wanted to be an F-16 fighter pilot or a doctor. And my dad, who was a school teacher, said, be a doctor, and maybe one day you'll be able to fly. But in any event, I went to the School of Public Health and Human Nutrition, got my degree there, and then I went on to medical school also at the University of Michigan. And it was also at that time I started working in the laboratory, and I've been funded from the National Institutes of Health, the Department of Defense, and other places for about the last 25 years. I have 3 active NIH grants now that I'm part of, 3 clinical trials. I'm the director of wellness of a very large health system in Michigan, one of the largest, a $5 billion a year health system. Because of my degrees in nutrition and the background that I have, they've asked me to be the medical director of wellness. I'm also the medical director of the Center for Complementary and Integrative Medicine because of my background, I can treat most medical disorders with an alternative. Although she just asked me, she said, Doc, do you still do surgery? So I see patients, and I'm still operating and taking care of patients, and it's just a lot of fun. I've published about 100 plus peer-reviewed articles, written 2 books, have 7 patents, and I today still take care of a lot of the professional athletes both in town and out of town, and provide medical care to 4 CEOs around the country that you would probably all know, but I won't disclose. But they wanted me because of my interest in alternative types of medicines and backgrounds, and they don't like to take medicines. And I always say that we're not providing health care today, we're providing sick care, and that pendulum has to change to prevention and wellness. And that's why we came up with the products. I get to work with really smart people like Dr. Uribe. I'm learning how to pronounce it better. She lets me call her Sylvia. And she is a PhD scientist and a genius in food nutrition. She's really modest, but she worked for Kellogg's, and I'm going to let her tell you more about her. So that's enough about me, isn't it?
That's amazing. We couldn't be more excited. I have to tell you, we couldn't be more excited when you joined this advisory board with your background. And again, I know you're incredibly humble as well, but I'm going to ask you just to brag, and please tell folks a little bit more about you. We want them to understand what an absolute gold mine find you were, and what a blessing it is that you're on board with us at Visalus.
Well, thank you very much. I have my bachelor degree in food engineering, and I was lucky enough to be the best student on the whole of the country and got a scholarship. And I decided to go to England for my PhD, which is in food science and nutrition. So all my career has been in food industry. I have worked for some of the major companies. I worked for Kellogg for a very long time. I worked for PepsiCo for the Quaker side of the business. I also work on the quality assurance side of McDonald's and a couple of other companies.
Did you say McDonald's?
Yeah.
You said McDonald's.
I came to the light. Basically, all I have done is I have done production of food, innovation in food, nutrition in food, labeling in food. All my career is basically in food and nutrition.
And I eat the food that she makes, which is great. The Nutri-Cookies, the shakes.
So that's basically my background.
I absolutely love it. Look at this. You know, when people ask, hey, what about this or what about that, you know, when it comes to the product, one of the things that I say is, hey, look, you know, the person that you're talking to right now that's asking you questions or questioning our products, what is their background? Really, what's their bio? Because when you see here, we've got clinical and medical, right, over here, and we've got food science and engineering PhD over here. So if the idiot that's telling you guys that the product isn't any good doesn't have the pedigree or resume that these people have, I think the conversation's over. Right? Right?
We're going to stir up this crowd. Well, let's jump into our products because I know you all have asked a tremendous amount of questions. They get emails all the time, which we're so grateful that so many of them you all are able to respond to. But talk to us a little bit. Let's start off with our product. You know, we have the #1 consumed shake in all of North America. How about giving it up for the Vi-Shape Shake? I mean, yeah. If you would, and I'll let the two of you jump in as you feel fit, but talk to us a little bit about our shake. Why is it so amazing? What's in our shake? And why is it the best?
Well, let me start. One of the things that you need to remember is you have in the shake what your body needs. You have your proteins, you have your fiber, minerals and vitamins. You don't have any of the stuff you don't need, like your fat, your starch, and your sugars. Just basically, those are not in there. In terms of the proteins you have in there, we have a blend, and there is a lot of scientific evidence now showing that having a blend of proteins like we do helps you being able to assimilate better those amino acids that you get in the shake. Some people and some bodybuilders take a lot of only one protein, tons of whey protein, tons of whatever they decide to take. Well, that's like drinking from a hose fire. I mean, it's just impossible for the body to assimilate everything at one single point. So what you do when you have the blend is because they break down at different speeds in your body, you get an easy stream coming into your body, and your body has the time to assimilate everything you're getting in. So that's one of the benefits of having that the blend we have in the shake. We also have fiber, which is a soluble fiber.
Let's give it up for fiber just a minute. Can we all give it up for fiber?
Fiber's cool.
Yes, fiber's amazing.
Well, as everybody knows, there are two types of fiber. One is soluble and one is insoluble fiber. Your insoluble fiber is actually what cleans up your system, and it's what you find in wheat bran and all of those cereals. What we have in the shake is soluble fiber. Soluble fiber is like the food for the good bacteria in your body, which everybody calls prebiotics. Why is it important to have those? There is a million of reasons. One is your immune system. By them being there, you don't get infections because you don't get the bad bacteria. And they also help on producing a lot of good chemicals you need. For example, vitamin K. Most of the vitamin K your body consumes is actually produced by those bacteria in your gut. So you need to keep them happy and give them the food they want, and that's what we're doing with the fiber. Right now, there is a lot of science showing that keeping your colon healthy is very good for you because it prevents cancer. It helps you with a lot of inflammatory diseases, which are cardiovascular disease, diabetes, a lot of things you don't want to have. So that's the fiber we're giving you in the product. And it also has minerals and vitamins.
Well, doctor, can I ask a question? Obviously, none of us are allowed to make any kind of medical claims. However, is it safe to say that you can help ward off many of these problems, diseases, issues by health? by just being a healthier person. And obviously, our shake is something that provides a food.
I think that that's an accurate claim to make. So the bottom line is 60% of America is overweight. More than a third are obese. It's a huge problem, not only in America, but around the world. And so if you lose weight, you become less inflamed. So inflammation is a big problem. We heard Sylvia talk about that a little bit. And you have a reduction in diabetes, reduction in high blood pressure, reduction in joint pain. And so the shake and the flake and the BiPAC, all of those things kind of help from that perspective. And one thing I want to mention about the shake, a lot of people really criticize people for using soy, and there's so much bad rap about soy. And soy is actually an amazing protein. And I always laugh about this because I was interviewed in a very large paper years ago about one of the largest North American plants that produces soy milk is actually based in Michigan. And they had a 2-page spread on this, and they interviewed me for about an hour about the benefits of soy. And I said, well, soy lowers cholesterol. Soy can reduce, high blood pressure. Soy is actually good for brain health. And we just went on and on about soy. And they said, Doc, just give me like one little quote about soy. And I said, all right, well, soy is great. And they said, thank you so much, and it was about an hour conversation, and then I read the paper the next day, and I said to my wife, I said, Lynn, honey, I'm going to be in the paper tomorrow, and we read it, and we read the first whole, page, there's nothing there, the next whole page, and said, Dr. Michael Seidman, Medical Director of Wellness of, I'm supposed to not say where I come from, but Medical Director of someplace in Michigan, says, quote, soy is great. And I'm like, really? They interviewed me for about an hour about the medicinal benefits.
You got that from me. That's what I say.
That's crazy.
Soy is great.
So one of the things, soy gets a bad rap for a couple of things. One is because it has isoflavones in it. And isoflavones are actually called phytonutrients. And phytonutrients are actually very good for you. We remove them because there is evidence, and your doctor will say, oh my God, if you had a breast cancer, if you had an ovarian cancer, you can't have soy. That's actually nonsense, and one of the world authority on this is Dr. Messina, and I'm a very close colleague of his, and you can actually have soy. The amount of soy that we have inside there is actually a very good amount. It's a very digestible protein. As Sylvia said, it works very well with the whey hydrolysate and the whey concentrate to really provide a very balanced form of proteins for your body. And so we have removed the isoflavones, so there is no risk of any problem with that as well. So.
Amazing.
Right. Hey, I want to ask one more question, too, about the shake, because this is something that comes up, and I know we talked about this, Dr. Uribe, and that's the sucralose issue, the sweetener. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, sucralose is an artificial high-intensity sweetener, but it's extremely safe. It has been approved in over 80 countries by over 80 regulatory agencies, similar to the FDA, and some of them, honestly, a lot more strict than the FDA. When you're talking about Australia, when you're talking about Europe, those agencies are really, really picky, and they have approved this high-intensity sweetener as safe. They have over 100 studies showing the toxicological side of it, feeding huge amounts that none of us will ever be able to consume, that they don't produce any negative effect. So the high-intensity sweetener, yes, it's artificial, but it is safe. It's the safest there is.
I want to put it into perspective. So there are 26 grams in a serving of shake. In UK, I think it's 31 grams, but 26 grams in America. That's 26,000 milligrams. We use 3 milligrams of sucralose. So if you do the math, 3 divided by 26,000 is 0.000115.
Yes, it is.
So it's 99.9999% natural with that small amount of sucralose. And the FDA sets a limit, the lower limit of what they say. This is about as much as you should have in a day. And you would have to have, and I'd love for you to remember this number because it blows me away when we did the math. You'd have to have 2,862 shakes in a day. 2,862 shakes in a day to get the level that the FDA says you should not exceed. You can't even eat that in a year. Even if you're having 2 shakes a day,
Wow.
You can't do that, right?
Yeah, a lot of danger
That's
there,
awesome.
right?
So, and I don't want you to, so we need something that tastes good. We need something that's diabetic friendly. We need something that the masses can take, right? We can't pour sugar in this. We can't make this a Coca-Cola. We just can't do that. We're trying to help people lose weight. And we looked at many of the different sweeteners. We looked at agave. Agave is 90% fructose. We looked at xylitol. Xylitol is a natural sugar, but it causes diarrhea. And so, as one of my colleagues
That
would
could
say,
be inconvenient.
a little bit. And 1, 2, 3, diarrhea.
Buy diaper.
1, 2, 3, diarrhea. And so we can't use that. We have moved to stevia, which is a little bit challenging in our flake, and I say it's challenging because it has a slight black licorice aftertaste, and I know we've been talking about things like this, but stevia happens to be in the shake with some sugar, natural sugar cane as well, and again, it's very, very healthy and very low amounts of sugar in the flake, and I'm jumping around from the flake and the shake, but my point is, back to sucralose, incredibly safe. You'd have to have 2,862 shakes in a day to reach the level of sucralose that the FDA says this might be harmful for you. You shouldn't exceed that.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm feeling
Awesome.
pretty good about that, huh?
Yeah, I think I am too. That's what I was looking for. Hopefully that's what you're looking for too when it comes to those issues.
Well, having dropped 26 pounds on just the shake, because it's before we came out with the crunch. It was just the shakes, that just making those transitions, doing 2 shakes a day. Sometimes I only did 1 and did 2 meals, but I've dropped 26 pounds.